Please protect these people by telling them not to open these shops. Please.
Mina, I'm not a member of Mash and Mash, and never been the member of any organization.
Yeah.
No one can write a letter and say that's firing me.
Yeah.
I'm now hearing that South Africans abroad who are stranded, helpless, and need help are not getting help because of the xenophobia that is happening in South Africa.
March and March has never been an issue to the EFF. We've never entertained it. It's never been an issue.
It's their jobs. The marketers have to get out there and start selling again. And they have to sell quite vigorously, and that's not happening because there's no places for them to sell. So that's causing ripple effects of job loss.
So now South Africa's economy has started feeling the pinch. South Africa's economy has started seeing a decline in certain sectors, and it is not looking good. It is not looking good at all. I have said that in the long term, this is not a day or two thing. In the long term, it is really going to affect them a lot. It is really going to affect them a lot. And because of elections, it is going to affect them. And also, PHAKELA is advising all foreigners in South Africa who are still in South Africa that today, being the 31st of July, is the last day for them. They don't want to see any foreign shops open or shops that are owned by foreigners, especially the SPAZA shops. They don't want to see any foreigner operating such shops in South Africa. I don't want to talk much. Let's go into the video. And also, I have Julius Malema talking about something in this video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe.
South Africa's anti-immigrant protests have dominated headlines for now. Now that tens of thousands of African migrants have left the country or plan to do so, experts say the impact on the economy is starting to show. According to the country's Interministerial Committee on Migration, more than 70,000 immigrants from places like Malawi, Ghana and Nigeria have left, many having been repatriated by their governments. And businesses are beginning to feel the effects. The taxi industry is struggling to fill gaps, while the textile sector is also feeling the pressure. Farmers preparing for the next planting season are worried there may not be enough workers. Labor unions say some industries may face difficult times ahead.
Number of industries may be in decline, particularly those industries with extremely low profit margins, and therefore little space for maneuverability in terms of conditions that may be able to attract local labor.
Experts say that people from other parts of Africa don't just provide labor in South Africa, they also help drive economic activity.
Migrants are not only workers, they're also consumers. They're tenants, they're commuters, they're savers, they're borrowers, they're traders, and they're entrepreneurs. They increase the demand for goods as well as the supply of labor. They rent rooms, they buy food, they use transport, they pay school fees, they start small businesses, and they create jobs for local people.
Research by the Institute for Security Studies and the University of Johannesburg highlights just how significant that contribution is. Although immigrants make up only about 6.5% of South Africa's population, they contribute around 9% of the country's GDP. The African Diaspora Forum says South Africa should pay attention to lessons from elsewhere on the continent.
We know that in Zimbabwe, when there was land reform, chaotic land reform program, farm workers were forcibly removed and the impact was felt. Food production went down. We entered a crisis, and we do not wish that should happen to South Africa.
The organization says the extent of the economic consequences of the latest wave of xenophobia is likely to become evident in the coming months. For some analysts, the issue goes beyond jobs and labor. They argue that anti-immigrant sentiment in South Africa could also hurt the country's ambition for greater trade and economic integration across Africa.
These anti-immigrant actions are an act of economic self-sabotage that directly paralyzes our tourism sectors, and deters vital intra-Africa trade, inter-Africa capital needed for our self-reliance.
As the debate over legal and illegal immigration to South Africa continues, one question is becoming harder to ignore. Could the expulsion of African immigrants from South Africa result in more losses than gains?
Please protect these people by telling them not to open these shops. Please. Please. Are we on?
Just hours after the news of the March and March formally divorcing itself of Mkizo Mchunu, the other anti-foreigner crusade, Nkosikhona PHAKELA Mthakathi Ndabandaba, took to the streets of Soweto to march against foreign nationals. Mchunu expressed on Tuesday that he could not march forever and accused Ndabandaba and the March and March leader Jacinta Ngobese Zuma of seeking the limelight and relevance through the anti-foreigner marches. Mchunu said it was not intention to collapse the economy and that unlike the other two, he had been to prison and did not wish to be arrested again. Ndabandaba on Tuesday led hundreds of men through the streets of Mafolo, Soweto. They carried sticks and knobkerries chanting songs against foreign nationals. The March and March says it will continue marching against undocumented foreigners on Thursdays, although the movement may be losing steam amid the divisions and internal strife from the movement's high-profile leaders. In the meantime, Ngobese Zuma is ramping up her anti-migrant campaign on Facebook, saying the South African government had no capacity to deal with the problem. South African government, why don't you tell South Africans that you can't deal with the issue of illegal immigrants? And it's easier to deal with the March and March because you don't even have enough food or space in holding cells to keep these immigrants, and you end up letting them go back into the streets. Don't have enough vehicles to arrest them. You don't have enough immigration officers to process them. Don't have enough courts to process them. Don't have enough vehicles or flights to deport them. You don't know where your so-called refugees are. You don't have enough anything, and you have allowed NPOs to run this country through foreign funding for so long. So where exactly does the money of this country go to? She wrote on her Facebook account.
Please protect these people by telling them not to open these shops. Please. Please. We are begging you, you are South Africans, and your first line of your duties is to protect South Africans, uphold the law, and keep the peace. Please tell these people not to open this shop from today, because anyway, the deadline is on the 31st. On the 31st of July, all cash and carries, all saloons, all SPAZA shops and tuck shops, all small and medium businesses are not going to be owned by any foreigner from the 31st of June. Since it's the 28th today, they can just keep them shut as they did today, because we are avoiding the conflict.
I'm now hearing that South Africans abroad who are stranded, helpless, and need help are not getting help because of the xenophobia that is happening in South Africa. If that is happening, it's really, really sad, because when you teach people to hate foreigners, don't be shocked when they label South Africa closes opportunities. See, the thing is, Kamma does not need a passport. The actions of a few becomes the reputation of many. So, my friend, xenophobia does not hurt only the so-called foreigners. It hurts everyone. And right now, it's hurting South Africans abroad. Congratulations, xenophobes.
So, Nkiso Mchunu just dropped a bomb. Remember that I made a video that PHAKELA Mthakathi said Nkiso was bribed by the president to stop the march. Now Nkiso has hit back and he says he's been attacked by people who are actually getting funding from international funders. That's exactly the words that he used, that the people who are criticizing him live in mansions and they drive big cars because they're getting money from international funders. Remember I mentioned some time ago that, hey, if you are just in that, you need to know exactly where the money is coming from, because the money is definitely coming from somewhere. But you need to be actually certain that the money is not coming from intelligence agencies, especially international intelligence agencies, which are considered to be enemies of the country. And then they are paying you to destabilize the country. Remember I said that. So now Ngiswe is saying there is actually international funders who are funding March and March, who are funding Jacinda, who are funding PHAKELA Mthakathi. So this thing is actually a slippery slope, because I think many people don't realize, and I think I said it when these protests were starting, that you cannot have those kind of protests without funding. They will always need funding. You don't have people just coming up and then they are marching without money being poured to those kind of things. And now we are hearing that there is actually money being poured, and money is being poured from international funders. Problem with that kind of thing is that it is treasonous. It is treasonous to be accepting funds from international people to come and destabilize your own country. That is treason. Okay, baby things now are so complicated because the police are busy fighting each other, and IDEC is fighting everybody, and everybody is fighting IDEC. But when things settle down, people will go and they revisit these things that are happening now with your March and March. So be careful if you are one of the people who are receiving funds from this March and March to go and destabilize the country.
Thanks for the condolences. March and March has never been an issue to the EFF. We've never entertained it. It's never been an issue. We knew it's a vigilante group. We knew it's a tribalistic group. And tribalism and any ideology that thrives on division is unsustainable. You are bound to fight. So I grew up in Limpopo. I didn't grow up in Limpopo. I stay in Limpopo. I'm here because I'm working. If I'm not here, these guys won't pay me. So I need to survive. If I'm not here, I'm in Cape Town. But I stay in Limpopo. When we grew up, there used to be a group called Mapo Wamatama. Yes. Na sangara babona diamonds. But people just used to take a placard and put at the property and say, this property is protected by Amapa Wamatama, a vigilante group. I don't know where they are, those people. They were very popular. Everybody was very scared of them. But they were not following the law. I look at you, you look at me in a different way, I don't like you, I say, no, this guy who stole a TV. Then they start beating you up without any due process.
And there's a question of whether there are attempts by government to introduce a singular national law that will preserve certain jobs and informal businesses exclusively for South Africans. And I'm sure this question arises from the fact that in Botswana, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, I don't know, Namibia, in Tanzania, in Kenya, in Ghana, in Nigeria, they've got laws exclusively that reserves informal businesses. For instance, in Zimbabwe, you cannot own a hair salon when you're not a Zimbabwean. In Ghana, you cannot own a hair salon when you're not a Ghanaian. We can give you a list, and I know that because I was once a Minister of Small Business Development, and that was in 2019 when we attempted to introduce that law. But we were hamstrung by the fact that our immigration laws were not very clear. We have moved the Business Act to the Small Business Department, and we then required the licensing of small informal businesses and micro businesses to make sure that and the conditions for licensing to comply with the current immigration law that says for you to operate a small an informal business in South Africa or to operate a business in South Africa when you are a foreign national, you must invest a minimum of 5 million rands. And we will all agree that hair salon, SPAZA shop, a motor mechanic, except when you are a top, does not require 5 million rands investment. So we put the regulations in that space then. Currently, the minister is putting an amendment law that Minister Ntabeni is putting an amendment law that makes the reservations. But we need the amendment bill in line with the revised immigration white paper to come into effect to provide an enabling legislation from the immigration law, because Section 22 of our Constitution is very clear. The right to trade is a right for South Africans. But we also make an acknowledgement that refugees who are in this country and asylum seekers who are in these countries, because we don't provide refugee camps, because we know what refugee camps create. We have been, and we must be clear, South Africans who have lived in the continent during our struggle for freedom, they lived in refugee camps. They needed permission to move from a refugee camp to town. We must be very clear. That's why when you go to Angola, when you go to Tanzania, when you go to Zambia, there are camps where the ANC people were resident. They were in refugee camps. We have taken a posture that we don't want to create refugee camps. So we integrate refugees in our communities. Therefore, because we don't have refugee camps where we can provide for them, then they are also allowed to work.
Morning, friends. Welcome to the van. Phone just started recording on its own. Yeah, you have to push the button. Yesterday's video with regards to the SPAZA shops, sure, that one sparked quite a bit of debate. Yeah, chaps, keep it clean, eh? I know some make some stupid comments, but you don't have to answer to it all, eh? Sure, I had almost 2,000 follows from that video, which is the most I've ever seen on any platform. So one day, 2,000 followers. That's a lot. Or almost 2,000. There's almost 1.9. There's a lot to discuss regarding that. And if you go through the threads, you can see there's a lot of things that were never thought about. March and March, bless them, they had an idea, but it's sort of backfiring on them quite badly with regards to the economy taking a massive knock. The economies in each township are quite vital to the people living there. Cash flow within the community, and also service and ease of getting to whatever you need without going into town. It's going to affect many things. Those shops are stocked with bread, milks, cold drinks, chips, soaps, you name it, deodorants, they're all sort of in there. Those sales were all over the country. They have now dropped right down. So those stores that are providing that, bread, Coke, cool drink, whatever, that's all dropped as well. And when production drops in big companies, people lose their jobs. Marketers have to get out there and start selling again. And they have to sell quite vigorously, and that's not happening because there's no places for them to sell. So that's causing ripple effects of job loss all over the place. So it's not just job losses in the SPAZA shops, it's now job losses in the business that provide for those SPAZA shops. The other thing is it takes away a lot of, if you speak to anyone in the townships, you've got to have small change on you all the time. If you need to get into a taxi, you can't have a 100 Rand note or a 50 Rand note. You've got to have some small change on you permanently. You can't just move around. So it's crippling people with regards to mobility. The other thing is not easy to just go and grab yourself something down the road. Quickly send the kids to go get a loaf of bread for tomorrow's school, down to the shop there. That's not going to happen anymore because now the shop is 7 k's away or 10 k's away. So, you can't just send the kids for a quick little walk down here. So it's changing everything, and it's put a lot of people under a lot of pressure. And so this has to be discussed a lot more. Hopefully, without all the hateful comments, guys, come keep it clean. And keep it respectful, respect other people. I know there's a couple of people that put stupid remarks in there. Ignore them. You don't have to answer everybody. Just ignore the twats. There's a lot of them in there. It takes all kinds to make the world go round. But anyway, so this thing has to be discussed more, and I'm hoping that somewhere along the line, somebody sees the power of these SPAZA shops and the investment opportunity, because I believe they are a massive investment opportunity. If you can set up a SPAZA chain store, keep the prices as low as you can, and set up, train people, train locals, get them in there, give them a percentage in the shop, and let's get some. Come on, there must be some investors out there that understand what I'm saying and see it the way I see it. I see huge income potential, massive, like a taxi industry. I just see you can put these things all over the place, just a container. Oof, go for it, get arrangement with the people that they're living on and get some electricity into it. And I just see a massive income. This is a huge plus, and this is where people we need some minds to start really putting this thing together. Anyway, I've had a couple of direct messages of people saying that they got massive ideas on how this thing can be turned around. We're going to try and get through and see and speak to all of them, and we'll take it from there. But these SPAZA shop things, it's not over. This is the beginning, and there's big things to come. This could really help South Africa in a massive way. We've got to play it right. We've got to make sure we don't stuff it up. We've got to do it right from the beginning. Anyway, chaps, have an awesome day.
Nigerian nationals that are living in South Africa, let's talk. Because there are a few people that are giving the majority a bad name. Crime is out of control in South Africa, and we're doing the best that we can. But if you have to track some of the crime as well, there's been a big complaint about some, and I'm being specific here, some Nigerian nationals that have been linked to organized crimes, including drug dealing and drug trafficking. They've been there. And yes, we're not taking away from the other criminal syndicates as well, but I'm specifically focusing on the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa. The ugliness has also perpetuated even in the creative industry, where it seems as though we want to one-up each other. Two very powerful nations, rich in minerals, rich in oil, where Nigeria is concerned, rich in heritage and history and the people themselves. But where is the struggle in us being able to set aside our differences, tackle the issue of bad apples, tackle it head on, and don't allow the political agenda to take away from the fact that these two powerful nations have got the capacity, if they work together, to be the strongest force in Africa. Because we still are a South Africa that exists within the context of an African continent. How do we then take accountability for those individuals that are dealing in organized crime? There's a huge syndicate. It's been there for years, the Yahoo Boys. Not so long ago, the executive mayor of the city of Cape Town, Jordan Hill-Lewis, was speaking about the Yahoo Boys as well. Crime syndicates linked to Nigerian nationals, and Nigerian nationals who are living in South Africa. How do you feel? How do you feel about the bad apples that give the rest a bad name when there are good, great people who are of Nigerian descent, who are living in this country and contributing positively to this economy?
South Africans are very good people. We are accommodative. And the problem started when the people that are from Nigeria are staying with us in such an extent that they started selling drugs to our children. All along, the relationship was marvelous. But now, when they are here in South Africa now, they are looking down on us. Things that they are saying about us, they are very bad. So that is where now things are starting to change. Now,
and of course, Dr. Msibi, you take into account that it's not all Nigerians, right? So there are those criminals that are, you're correct. There are those criminals that have been linked to selling drugs on the street, but it's not, this does not speak for all Nigerians in South Africa. And I think that's why South Africans are angry. How do we fix it? And I'm asking, how do we fix it by not singing Kumbaya? How do we fix it by holding to account those that need to be held to account? How do you fix it by ensuring that criminals are not running rampant on the street? How do you fix it so that those that are involved in drug trafficking are arrested. But how do we fix it? That's why I want Nigerian nationals on the table and South Africans on the table.
Listen, the South African economy definitely is going to be affected, and it has started. It has actually started, and for me, I'm worried for them because one of the key sectors that was basically bringing a lot of money to their economy was tourism, and seeing the decline in tourism. And surprisingly, most of the people or the people that actually visit South Africa are Africans. They said about 80 or 90%. So if Africans, it's funny. I don't know why they did not think about all of this before acting. And as I have said, if it is not because of elections and the politicians, their greediness, people who actually caused this should be arrested. Seriously. Now there is division amongst them. Let's see where it will get to. If the government is going to be serious about it and arrest them and prosecute them, I think it will serve as a deterrent to other people who probably in the future might also want to do same. Because if they are not punished, I'm telling you, in the future they are going to see worse. They are going to see worse of this. So the ball is in their court. They have the power to do whatever they are supposed to do to better the economy and also the country. So let's see what happens. The South African government, all these people, I don't know. And their minister talking about Ghana also having such laws and all that. I have said on this particular platform that many African countries have the same law, you understand, and they apply it. When you come to Ghana today, we have Nigerians who own shops. Those shops are not up to a certain amount or the money that has been set, but we have them here. They are doing their businesses, you understand. It's not like Ghana has enforced the law strictly to the extent that like Nigerians have basically taken over. You know, the problem in South Africa is that they've allowed the foreigners to take over, and the indigenous people are not really into the market thing or doing those businesses. But in Ghana, when you come, the local businesses, Ghanaians are involved. Ghanaians are doing it. So we are not really feeling the impact like the way South Africans are feeling it. You understand? I think probably they were not brought up to kind of do such businesses and all that. So they are not really into that. So people coming around and setting up businesses and bringing their skills and also and doing stuff like that and basically making money and buying cars and all that, it's new to them. But Charlie, fight with your government and let the government do something better for you guys. And also you guys should learn from the foreigners. Do some of these jobs and it will help you. Thank you so much for watching.